On arriving home to New Zealand a week later, I looked up our circle on the internet and found it documented by our friend Lucy Pringle as a very amateurish circle that looks like a piece of chewed string. I was a bit deflated and downcast, in fact. However, my Māori language teacher cheered me up. She said, "Hei riti tonu te timatatanga o te ira tangata." It looks like the very beginning of the life principle or life form. It was the Maori icon used in carving to represent a fertilised seed. She also said it was a whenua or placenta with the pito, cord, twisted into male and female polarities. The ira tangata spiral was a fertilised seed that represented something that was going to grow out of this, so watch this space. The pattern also had 7 little figures, 6 with the wheat divided in the middle and a 7th with the wheat lying only one way. I think the 6th were the Kiwi group with John Woolard, and the 7th was the guy who came down and made it by hand. Having lived by synchronicity for some years, I also have to look at the coincidence that occurred around the pattern. The most remarkable, realised later, was that in fact I'd bought a little herb book from the Avebury bookshop with the same pattern and leafy vines on its cover. Since that date, my medical career has moved away from general practice more into herbal and natural medicine, and thus my wife Anna and I have set up the Herb Shack in our hometown. The other coincidence was discovering the same pattern in fossil form inside the Baha'i library, where the writings of Baha'u'llah are archived. In a similar way, the Baha'i faith has become a part of my ongoing life. But there are multiple layers of meaning in this pattern. Another Māori friend recognised it as a prophecy. Those little figures weren't us, she said, they were the 7 wakas or canoes of the Pacific Confederation of Nations. The circle itself is Te Nuia Kiwa, Pacific Ocean, and the spiral is our land of New Zealand, Aotearoa. This was the fertilised seed from whence would come the new civilization once the earth changes happen, she said. But is there any other evidence to indicate that there might be a global catastrophe or earth changes? Well, yes. We heard scientist Nancy Talbot at the symposium telling us that the seed from the patterns has been altered and is more resistant to cold and dry and darkness. In fact, an Australian Aboriginal shaman told me the same story 10 years ago. She said that people from other worlds are helping us and are implanting resistant seed into the crop patterns to help our survival. But is there anything to indicate who these people might be? Well, yes again. Ignored by the world media, the greatest story of all time. People from other worlds are here to help us and have left direct messages, and in the year that we were there. We're talking about the Chilbolton patterns, the face and the message that landed alongside the Chilbolton radio telescope in 2001. The message was a simple answer to the digital message sent out by Carl Sagan and the SETI organisation in 1973. It said, "We are silicon-based life form with extracoiling DNA. We are 3 foot tall and we live on the 3rd, 4th and 5th planet of the system, and we transmitted this message with our brain." This is a simple analysis from the message from cropcircleconnector.com, showing the original message and the answer. But did anyone bother to show this to the SETI organisation? Well, yes indeed, they did show it to SETI, and the SETI representative was sceptical, indicating that he would have thought if there was an advanced life form visiting us, he would have expected something better than a Chinese cracker. Why don't they send a CD or something, he said. So, showing their typical sense of humour, they did. The message read in simple ASCII 2 code, "Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain but still time," damaged word. There is good out there, we oppose deception. Conduit closing, bell sound. With the fall of the Twin Towers a few days later and the evident takeover of some of the world's powerful nations by sinister and evil forces, this is quite a comforting message. For more analysis, see my book, The Mystery of the Star Glyphs. And what about our fertilised seed? Has there been evidence that something is growing out of this? Well, yes indeed. In 2003, in the same field, there was a pattern that looked like a bit like a growing fetal form, and then a threefold development shortly later. And the sequence continues in ever more sophisticated and exquisite expression. There was a mild lull for a few years, but 2009 and then 2010 has produced a bumper crop of beautiful organic forms, and the phenomenon does seem to be amping up towards the 2012 climax date.
Coming upon the peoples of both the east and west to obey my will and to pledge allegiance to my person. To obey my will and to pledge allegiance to my person. I am the promised one. I am the promised one. Then you have known to witness the hour of His revelation. You have prayed God to hasten. Verily I say, it is incumbent upon the peoples of both the east and west to obey my word and to pledge allegiance to my person.